Hello everyone, my name is Mini Sethi. I hope you all are staying healthy. Today we are going to talk about Ricardian theory of rent. According to Ricardo, rent is portion of the produce of earth which is paid to landlord for the use of original and indestructible power of soil. According to Ricardo, rent is portion of the produce of earth which is paid to landlord for the use of original and indestructible power of soil. Or we can say that according to Ricardo, rent is part of earth produce which we pay to landlord because we are using original and indestructible power of soil. And according to Ricardo, we can determine rent into three forms. First is extensive cultivation, second is intensive cultivation, and last is situation of land. One by one we discuss about each. Firstly, we are going to talk about extensive cultivation. Under extensive cultivation, we can increase output by increasing quantities of land. Under extensive cultivation, we can increase output by increasing quantities of land. Or we can say that under extensive cultivation, if we want to increase production, then we have to use more plots of land. We will clearly understand extensive cultivation with the help of this table. Here in first column, we have land. As we know, in extensive cultivation, we can increase output by increasing quantities of land. That's why here we are using four types of land: A, B, C and D. Firstly, we will use type A land. As population will increase, then we start using land B. As population increase more, then we start using land C. And lastly, we use land D. You can see here land A is giving more output as compared to land B. You can see here land A is giving 120 output and land B is giving 90 output. And land B is giving more output as compared to land C. Land B is giving 90 output, but land C is giving 60 output. And land C is giving more output as compared to land D. Land C is giving 60 output and land D is giving 30 output. You can clearly see here land D is giving very less output as compared to others land. That's why land D is called our marginal land. In third column we have cost of employing labor and capital. You can see our cost is 100 and our cost will remain constant. In fourth column we have surplus. How we can calculate surplus from each land? We can calculate surplus of each land when we minus production of marginal land from the production of each land. We can calculate surplus of each land when we minus production of marginal land from the production of each land. Here our marginal land is D because D is giving very less output as compared to other land, and production of D is equal to 30. So surplus of A land is equal to 120 minus 30. 120 is production of A land and 30 is production of marginal land, or we can say that 30 is production of D land. 120 minus 30 is equal to 90. So 90 is surplus of A land, and surplus of B land is 90 minus 30. 90 is production of B land and 30 is production of marginal land. 90 minus 30 is equal to 60. So we can say that 60 is surplus of B land, and surplus of C land is 60 minus 30. 60 is production of C land and 30 is production of marginal land. 60 minus 30 is equal to 30. So we can say that 30 is surplus of C land. D land is not giving any kind of surplus. 30 minus 30 is equal to 0. In last column we have rent. Rent is our main point. Where is our rent? According to Ricardo, our surplus is rent. Or we can say that according to Ricardo, whatever surplus we are getting from these land is called our rent. You can see here, in first case our surplus is 90, rent also 90. In second case our surplus is 60, rent also 60. In similar you can see in other cases. So according to Ricardo, our rent is our surplus. Now we will understand extensive cultivation with the help of this diagram. In this diagram on x-axis we have grades of land, or we can say that on x-axis we have different types of land A, B, C and D as we earlier discussed, and y-axis we have production. As we know, our A land gives us production equal to 120 and production of D land is equal to 30, or we can say that production of marginal land is equal to 30. 120 minus 30, or we can say difference between 120 and 30, this part will call surplus from A land. And our B land give us production equal to 90 and our marginal land give us production equal to 30. Difference between 19 and 30, this part is called surplus from B land. and our C land give us production equal to 60 and production of marginal land is equal to 30. 60 minus 30 is equal to 30. This part will call surplus from C land. Our D land will not give us any kind of surplus of rent because 30 minus 30 is equal to 0. Now we will see surplus, or we can say the rent from each land with the help of this cost curve. As we know in Ricardo theory, we assume surplus and rent are equal to each other. Please don't confuse. In Ricardo theory, surplus and rent both are same. So in x-axis of all diagram we have output, and on y-axis of all diagram we have price, revenue and cost. In all diagram this MC represent marginal cost and AC represent average cost. So firstly we are going to talk about surplus or rent from land A. Cost of land A is equal to OTKQ and revenue of land A is equal to OPRQ. When we minus cost from revenue, remaining part PRKT is called surplus, or we can say the rent from land A. Now we will see rent from land B. Cost of land B is OTKQ and revenue of land B is OPHQ. When we minus cost from revenue, remaining part PHKT is called surplus, or we can say rent from land B. Now we will see rent from land C. Cost of land C is OMKQ and revenue of land C OPTQ. When minus cost from revenue, remaining part MPTK is called surplus or rent from land C. Land D don't give us any kind of surplus. You can see cost is equal to revenue. So here you can see land A is giving more rent, or we can say land A is giving more surplus as compared to B. You can see this part is more as compared to this, and land B is giving more surplus as compared to land C. You can see this part is more as compared to this, and land D is not giving any kind of surplus or rent. Now we are going to talk about intensive cultivation. Here we can increase output by applying more and more unit of labor and capital on same piece of land. Here we can increase output by applying more and more unit of labor and capital on same piece of land. In extensive cultivation, we can increase our output by increasing more plots of land. But in this case, our land will remain same. We can only increase labor and capital. Now we will clearly understand intensive cultivation with the help of this diagram. As we know, under intensive cultivation, we can increase output only by increasing labor and capital on the same piece of land. That's why in this diagram on x-axis we have doses of labor and capital, or we can say that on x-axis we have quantities of labor and capital, and y-axis we have production. When we apply first dose of labor and capital, we get output equal to 20. When we apply second dose of labor and capital, we get output equal to 15. When we apply third dose of labor and capital, we get output equal to 10. You can see here third dose of labor and capital is giving very less output as compared to other doses. That's why third dose of labor and capital is called our marginal dose. But how we can calculate a profit, or we can say how we can calculate rent from each dose of labor and capital? We can calculate rent from each dose of labor and capital when we minus output of marginal dose from the output of each dose of labor and capital. Here you can see first dose of labor and capital is giving output equal to 20 and output of marginal dose is 10, and difference between 20 and 10, this part is called rent from first dose. And second dose is giving output equal to 15 and output of marginal dose is equal to 10, and difference between 15 and 10, this part is called rent from second dose. By this we can calculate rent or surplus from each doses of labor and capital. Now we will understand intensive cultivation with the help of this revenue curves. In this diagram on x-axis we have labor and capital, and y-axis we have cost and productivity. This W curve represent wages of labor, or we can say this W curve represent cost of labor. Obviously wages which we are paying to labor is cost of labor. MRP is margin revenue productivity curve, ARP is average revenue productivity curve. At this E point, cost is equal to productivity. That's why at this E point we are not getting any kind of surplus. At this E point we are not getting any kind of rent. Suppose productivity increase. As a result, margin revenue productivity curve shift from MRP to MRP1. This is our new margin revenue productivity curve. And you can see here this margin revenue productivity curve is above from the cost of labor. This W SW curve show cost of the labor, and this is a margin revenue productivity curve, and above from the cost of labor. And difference between cost and revenue is equal to profit. This part WR even is called our surplus, or we can say this part is called our rent. Now we are going to talk about last form of determination of rent by Ricardo. It is called situation rent. According to situation rent, rent arises due to differences in the situation of land. According to situation rent, rent arises due to differences in the situation of land. For example, land near the market will give us more rent as compared to the land which is far from the market. This is all about Ricardian theory of rent. I think you got it, and thank you so much for watching this video. Bye, take care.